Right now, 76% of the sunlight hitting your windows is entering your house as heat. The US Department of Energy measured that number, not through single-pane antiques, through standard double-pane windows. 3/4 of everything the sun throws at your glass gets inside and stays there. Your blinds are not helping, not the way you think. Interior blinds reduce solar heat gain by 10 to 15%. That is the Department of Energy's own number, 15% on a good day. The other 85% is pouring past them, heating your floors, your furniture, the air in every room, and your air conditioner is running all afternoon trying to undo it. A mesh screen mounted on the outside of that same window blocks 70 to 90% of that heat before it touches the glass. Same window, same afternoon. The screen costs about $15 to build, and the reason you have never thought to put one there has nothing to do with whether it works. Here is what that is costing you right now. The Department of Energy puts window-related energy loss at 25 to 30% of your total heating and cooling bill. For the average American household, that is somewhere between $300 and $500 a year disappearing through glass. The national total, just the waste through windows, is over $20 billion annually. Your windows cover maybe 15% of your wall area. A small fraction of the surface is doing a third of the damage. And here's the part that should change how you think about every window in your house. Stand next to your west-facing window at 3 in the afternoon in July. Hold your hand 6 inches from the glass. You can feel it. Radiant heat pushing off the surface, warming the air between you and the window. That heat entered as light. Shortwave solar radiation passed straight through the glass. Because glass is nearly transparent to it, it hit your floor, your couch, your walls, and it converted into heat, infrared radiation. But here's the problem. Glass lets light in easily. It does not let heat back out. The light got in. The heat cannot get out. Your window is a one-way door. Everything that enters as sunlight leaves as a line on your electric bill. That is the greenhouse effect. Not the planetary one, the one in your living room. And it is running every sunny afternoon in every house in the United States. A research team in Trappes, France, proved how much this matters with a single experiment. They measured a south-facing room with no shading. Interior temperature hit 97 degrees. They added an interior screen. It dropped to 97 degrees. Then they mounted a screen on the exterior. The room dropped to 75. No air conditioning. Same window. Same sun. The interior screen gave them 7 degrees. The exterior screen gave them 22. Here is why the gap is that large. An interior blind sits inside the greenhouse. The sunlight has already passed through the glass. It hits the blind. The blind absorbs some of it, reflects some of it back toward the glass, but the heat is already trapped in the room. The blind warms up. The air between the blind and the glass superheats. You have created a little oven between fabric and glass, and that oven radiates into your room all afternoon. The blind is not stopping the heat. It is rearranging it. An exterior screen sits outside the greenhouse. The mesh intercepts the sunlight before it reaches the glass. It absorbs some, reflects some, and the wind carries that energy away into open air. The glass never heats up. The air inside never gets the chance to become an oven. The heat is dealt with outside, where dealing with heat is free. That is not a marginal improvement. That is a different category of performance from the same piece of mesh. And in winter, the screen comes off. 30 seconds. The same clips that hold it on let you pull it free in October and let every bit of low-angle winter sun pour through and heat your house for nothing. A $500 window replacement is permanent. A $15 screen adapts to the season. The Department of Energy's own data tells the story. Standard interior mini blinds, the ones hanging in most American homes right now, reduce solar heat gain by about 10 to 15%. An exterior 90% solar screen blocks over 85%. That is 6 times the heat reduction from the same basic idea. The only difference is which side of the glass it sits on. Let me put some numbers on what that means for your wallet. A do-it-yourself solar screen frame kit, aluminum frame stock, corner pieces, vinyl spline, and mounting clips. Runs $10 to $20 per window. Solar screen mesh, the good stuff, 80% or 90% density, costs $1 to $2 per square foot. For a standard 3x5 foot window, you are looking at $15 to $30 all in. A 10-window house would be $150 to $300. Now compare that to window replacement. Replacement windows cost $300 to $800 per window installed. The same 10-window house would be $3,000 to $8,000. And here's what most people do not realize. Even a brand new double-pane low E window still lets 29% of solar energy through as heat. The new window is better than the old one. The exterior screen on the old window is better than both. A study of 50 cities funded by the professional awning industry and conducted by Joe Huang of Whitebox Technologies, an expert in building energy simulation, measured the impact of exterior shading on cooling costs across the United States. The results were clear. Exterior shading reduced cooling energy by 25 to 52%, depending on the city and window orientation. In Pittsburgh, homes with exterior shading on single or double pane windows cut cooling energy by 46 to 50% in a hot year. In Phoenix, the net savings were $193 annually. In New England, up to 61%. Across 50 cities, 480 simulations per city, the numbers pointed the same direction every time. On a home spending $1,500 a year on cooling, a 30 to 50% reduction is $450 to $750 back. The screens pay for themselves before the first summer is over. Then they keep paying, year after year. No moving parts, no filter to replace, no electricity, just mesh. Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, PNNL, ran the test in a controlled environment. They used 2 identical factory-built homes at their Lab Homes facility in Richland, Washington, with the same windows, the same HVAC system, and the same simulated occupancy. One home got exterior fabric shades, the other got standard interior vinyl blinds. They measured HVAC cooling energy across full summer seasons. The exterior shades cut daily cooling energy by about 10% compared to the interior blinds, and they improved occupant comfort in every room where they were deployed. The Department of Energy funded it. PNNL and Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory collaborated on it. It was published in 2020. 10% does not sound like much until you realize what it means. That is 10% less cooling energy from doing nothing but moving the shade from the inside to the outside. Same shade concept, same window. The PNNL lab homes are the same facility that tested insulated window coverings for my video on curtain insulation. Same 2 houses, same methodology, same lab. The Department of Energy keeps proving, in their own buildings, with their own instruments, that what you put on the outside of your window matters more than what you put on the inside. And the American home improvement industry keeps selling you the inside. Here's where the rest of the world enters the picture. Because exterior window shading is not an experiment in Europe. It is how buildings work. In Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, exterior rolling shutters, called Rollladen, come standard on virtually every new home. Not as a luxury upgrade. As a baseline feature, the way insulation comes standard. They are built into the wall above the window during construction. You roll them down from inside. The sun never touches the glass. In Italy, the tapparelle serve the same function. In southern France, exterior shutters are not decorative. They are closed by 9 in the morning to trap the cool night air inside, opened at 5 in the evening when the sun drops. That daily rhythm, close before the heat, open after, has been shaping Mediterranean life for centuries. Every new building in these countries treats exterior shading as building science. America put blinds inside and called it interior design. Now here is something that reframes this beyond saving money on your cooling bill. In 2023, 2,325 people died from heat in the United States. Heat-related deaths among people over 65 have risen 68% in the past 2 decades. Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory responded by publishing a do-it-yourself emergency window shading guide, specific practical instructions for blocking solar heat gain during heat waves using common materials. Their number one recommendation is exterior mounted solutions. Because for vulnerable populations, elderly residents, low-income households without air conditioning, and anyone in a building that loses power during a heat event, a $15 exterior screen is not a home improvement project. It is a safety intervention. Alright, here's what you are actually buying and what the install looks like. Because this is simpler than hanging a picture. You buy solar screen mesh, Pfeiffer Suntex, 80 or 90, the 80 version blocks 80% of solar heat and gives you better outward visibility, while the 90 version blocks 90% and is darker. Both are vinyl-coated fiberglass or polyester, made to live outdoors. A roll 72 inches by 25 feet runs about $40 to $60 from any hardware store, which is enough for a lot of windows. You buy a window screen frame kit. It comes with aluminum bars, plastic corner connectors, and vinyl spline. Expect $10 to $20 per window at most hardware stores and online retailers. The kit is simple and inexpensive. Measure your window opening. Cut the aluminum bars with a hacksaw or a miter box. Press in the corner pieces. Lay the mesh over the frame, making sure the weave is straight. Roll the vinyl spline into the channel with a spline roller, a $5 tool, pushing the mesh tight as you go. Trim the excess with a utility knife. Clip the finished screen to the exterior of your window frame with barrel clips or turn clips, install a few screws, and you are done. Plan on 20 to 30 minutes per window. No ladder for first floor windows and no special skills are required. The clips stay on the frame year-round. The screen pops on in May and comes off in October, 30 seconds each way. That quick installation is the whole point. If you only have time for 4 windows, do the west-facing ones first. Most people assume south-facing windows are the worst for heat, and they do get the most total sun over the course of a day. But west-facing windows get hit at the worst possible time. Low-angle afternoon sun arrives during the hottest hours when the air outside is already at its peak. Your roof overhang cannot block it because the sun is too low. That combination, direct beam plus peak temperature, plus no natural shade, is what turns a room into an oven. The Department of Energy's own data shows awnings reduce solar heat gain by 77% on west-facing windows versus 65% on south-facing ones. If you have a room that is unbearable every afternoon, check which direction its windows face. Odds are they are looking west. That is exactly the problem an exterior screen solves. The first afternoon after you install them, you will feel it. Not on a bill. That comes later. In the room. You walk in at 3 o'clock, the time it is usually unbearable, and the air is different. Quieter heat. The glass is not radiating. The floor near the window is not warm to the touch. Your air conditioning is not cycling. Nothing dramatic happened. You just stopped 80% of the heat at the surface, 6 inches outside the glass, where the wind carries it away for free. A few things worth being honest about. The screens reduce outward visibility, especially the 90% density. You can still see out. It is like looking through a fine mesh, but the view is slightly muted. The 80% density is a better balance for living rooms and kitchens where you want the view. The 90% is better for bedrooms and west-facing windows where heat rejection matters more than clarity. And some homeowners associations will have opinions about exterior mounted screens. Most solar screens are dark-colored mesh in minimal frames, far less visually intrusive than awnings or shutters, but check before you install. Curb appeal concerns are real. They are also the reason most of America pays to air-conditioned heat that never needed to enter the house. The global window coverings market generates roughly $25 to $29 billion a year. That market is built almost entirely around interior products. Blinds, curtains, shades, shutters, sold through showrooms, interior designers, home decor catalogs, and retail displays. Every product in that chain lives inside the glass. Exterior screens have no showroom, no design spread, no retail end cap. Nobody at the home improvement store is stacking mesh and frame kits together with a sign that says "Mount this outside." The product is on the shelf. The mesh is in the HVAC aisle. The frame kits are in the screen aisle. The research is on the Department of Energy website. Nobody suppressed it. Nobody promotes it either. And that gap between available and promoted is where $300 to $500 of your annual cooling bill disappears every year. Your conditioner is not fighting the heat outside. It is fighting the heat your windows invited inside. And the cheapest, fastest fix for the worst performing surface in your house is not a new window, not better blinds, not a smarter thermostat. It is a $15 screen on the wrong side of the glass. Move to the right side. The same principle that makes this work, stopping heat at the surface before it enters the space, also works above your head. A coat of white paint on your roof does the same thing to the largest sun-facing surface you own for about $14. That story is already on this channel. Click it now.